Jeremy, we're talking stats, and I'm sharing a screen of a couple things. We're going to see stats for cold email and stats for LinkedIn outreach, and we're going to compare them. And we're going to get what day of the week is best. You're probably already getting a sneak preview. Wednesday looks pretty good on cold email side. Not so much for Saturday. And then we'll also look at, I think this is
It's per hour, right?
Yeah, the most actionable for me is like per hour. What happens 7 a.m.? Is 7 a.m. better than 3 p.m.? Or do people reply a bunch of...
It's fascinating actually, the graph that's, per hour. It's very interesting. Even I, who's been doing like cold email for 10 years now, I never actually seen this graph.
And I'm kind of shocked because we've done a lot of data episodes, and frankly, this is the easier analysis you could run. Hell, I did my own on like our LinkedIn replies. It's not that tricky, but we got around to it, episode 3000 or whatever this is. No, but let's get into it, Jeremy. Okay, so this is your stats. Tell us what we're looking at.
Yeah, so this is basically replies received, which means the email could have been sent a couple of days earlier or whatever. But it is basically a sneak peek as to what is the behavior of people replying. Like, when do they usually reply, on what day? And this is only since January, so the data are actually pretty recent, right? So we didn't like do like all aggregated for all the years that we had, which would, it wouldn't actually capture change of behavior. So this is purely from the beginning of the year. This is what you can expect in 2024.
Do you think it would change a lot, email behavior?
It's a good question. Maybe we'll do another cast for that, where I actually grab, data from different years and then compare year to year. But I definitely have seen enough change in this industry to figure that maybe some behavior would have changed. I think COVID will be an interesting year, actually, because there's a lot more remote. And as we are going to see, per hour, it's so correlated to sort of like office hours, type of things. But I don't want to spoil it too much.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So looking at this graph, I'm tempted to like forget Saturday and Sunday. In fact, in my stats, I'll share for LinkedIn, I didn't even include them, but whatever. Are we starting to move into like the action items here?
All right.
Are we later in the week is better? I mean, I'm surprised that Friday beats Monday. Are you surprised? Is that the right way to interpret this?
I think, to me, it looks like, if you look from an employee and mindset, and I think it makes perfect sense, right? Meaning on Friday, you try to close down everything you have before you can go on weekend. That's how I interpret it. Like, that's probably why it's more than Monday. Monday, I would think it's stressful situation. You're only replying quickly to the things you have to reply to. Tuesday, kind of like catching up. On Wednesday is a kind of like chill day, looks like. Like, I'm in a groove, things are moving, it's okay. I got a bit more time to catch up on email and reply to those emails that's been sent, earlier days. Thursday, pretty much a repeat. And Friday, let's try to just close things down before we go on holiday, on weekend, sorry. That's how I interpret it, right? That's not how I do my replies as a business owner. I don't know about you, actually, Jack. Is it?
If I'm am I referring to cold email specifically?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Yeah. Like, kind of everything. Oh, yeah, that's a good question, actually. You know what?
Cold email is different.
I should analyze, the inboxes. Like, we got everything. We could even analyze, the number of emails that's been sent per hour and stuff. So
that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so what action items can we pick apart here, looking at Monday through Friday, or Saturday and Sunday too? What's the... And by the way, I just want to clarify, this is dumb, but the numbers on the left side, on the, what do you call it, the y-axis, they're not reply rates. It is just the percentage that day has across the whole week.
Yeah, in terms of the total replies, right?
Right. So what do we got here? So 15.28% of the replies come on Monday compared to all of the days. Yeah. So
and maybe for listeners as well that are not looking at it on YouTube, maybe we could just, just quickly go through all the days.
Good idea. So Monday, 15.28. Tuesday, we got 18.27 coming in at our, let's forget Saturday and Sunday for now. This is the number 4 spot during the week. Wednesday is 20.6. Looks like our number
1.
best. Yeah, number 1. Thursday's just under its, but with 20.51%, and Friday has 18.2. And let's, real quick throw in Saturday and Sunday with 2.93 and 3.79 respectively.
Yeah, so this is a really big clash between, day of the week when people are supposed to reply to their emails versus like Saturday and Sunday. Are you actually not surprised to see Saturday and Sunday still, like if you combine those two over the weekend, like how much is it? Like it's almost like 3% plus, what was Sunday already?
3.79.
Yeah, so it's roughly about like, let's say 7,
6.
let's call it, 6.8, something like that. Let's call it like 7% of the total replies are actually being sent on Saturday and Sunday. I don't know, is it like C-suite type of people, or is it?
I would imagine this would be our solo founders. They're kind of just grinding it out, working 7 days a week and, living and breathing it.
Okay.
And I would imagine the corporate outreach, probably not a lot is going on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, especially in enterprise, like, big company.
That's
in
what I'm
smaller one,
thinking.
you could still expect some people catching up with some work, but.
Right. Okay, so give us some action items. Are we going to double up sends on Wednesday, or is it not really like that?
No, and we did an episode, in the past as to when you should send it, which is effectively Sunday, right? Because then I think people will just catch up with it on Monday better. But in terms of the activity, it's an interesting psychology. I think I will find it more actionable to look at the hours more than the days. I'm not sure, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think the hour to see when people are in a reply mindset, probably going to be the most helpful. And I'll show the LinkedIn stats per day. It changes quite a bit, actually. And bear in mind, I act Saturday and Sunday, whatever. It wouldn't have hurt to add it, but okay. So let's look here. Monday's actually our second biggest day.
That's interesting.
Second biggest day, but like this much behind Thursday. So let me just real quick give a rundown for our audio listeners here. Monday in the number 2 spot at 20.30%. Tuesday, 18.49%. Looks like just neck and neck with Friday for one of the worst days, interestingly enough. Wednesday, strong at 19.77 in the number 3 spot. Thursday, 20.32. And then Friday, the 5th spot at 18.48, but they're really close. I look at this, Jeremy, and I'm thinking not a lot of changes that I would make personally, knowing this breakdown by day. I think all days are important on LinkedIn, but there is going to be a big departure on email stats and LinkedIn stats per hour when we look at those graphs, because think about just the psychology of your inbox and your LinkedIn app on your phone. You're kind of checking them for different reasons at different times.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see that, because I know the email one. I haven't seen yet, Jack's LinkedIn one.
It's so fun. But while we are at a good transition point, we're going to give quick sponsors. Quickmail.io for everything you need with cold email outreach. Cold.com, of course. Quickmail.com. Don't get it wrong, Jack. No, it's the robust sending platform for serious cold emailers, agencies, and teams that just want to do it correctly without worrying about the support can actually be there when you need them. The tool works. Quickmail rocks.
Good deliverability.
And deliverability you can count on. And at salesbread.com, most B2B companies lack the time or expertise to turn cold prospects into warm sales qualified leads. So at salesbread.com, we're going to bring you one lead a day by sending ultra personalized cold emails and LinkedIn messages so that you don't have to worry about prospecting, list building, email, copywriting strategy, list building, everything in between. that sounds good. Salesforce.com's for you. So now, Jeremy, we're going to head over to the time of days. So this is hour of the day replies for email.
Yeah, this one is fascinating to me.
What do we got? What are we looking at here?
We're looking at sort of like double hill or double mountain type of thing. Like if you look on the x-axis, you got all the hours of the day, and on the y-axis, the amount of replies that people are sending based on a total day, right? So if you had one day that was like 50%, it means like 50% of all the reply are actually coming on 1 hour, right? So I think that the highest one is just slightly about 15%.
Right.
I don't know about what actually surprised you, or
At
if
4
anything
o'clock,
surprised
right?
you. Yeah, exactly. 4 o'clock is the mother of
Look,
all replies.
So it's basically, it spikes between 2 and 4 o'clock. So
Yep.
we're afternoon email checkers. And by the way, both Jeremy and I's stats are respective of the sender's time zone, not the recipient, but the sender's time zone. So it should be pretty darn close to most of these.
In the
recipients.
aggregate, I think that works, given, where people are contacting people. But what's interesting is effectively there is more afternoon than there is morning, right? And I'm not sure if, it surprised me because I was expecting kind of the opposite, like a lot in the morning, not so much in the afternoon. Turns out it's a little bit on the morning, like get things done quickly.
Yeah.
And then the afternoon, a lot of, check off emails and replies. Which makes sense, to be honest. Like the morning, you want it to be like getting shit done.
Yours.
In the afternoon, when the energy goes low, then let me just reply to a few emails.
Yeah, personally, this is more how I'm thinking through emails. It's like, I know what I need to do in the morning, and then the afternoon is a bit more reactive, for better or worse. And that requires, getting to new items in your inbox. Okay. And so steep decline from 4 p.m. to
Onwards.
5 p.m. Right. Exactly. So it's almost
it's a
like
cliff. It's like crypto. It actually looks like a cryptograph, to be honest.
I wouldn't know, but probably we'll compare it in the next cast.
And for the audio listeners, I think maybe it's fair to start like there's nothing happening until 5 o'clock in the morning, right? Like it's very low, and then it starts ramping up until maxing out about 8 o'clock, about roughly 5%.
That's right.
So what's a 5 o'clock number?
So 5 o'clock
in the morning. Sorry, 5 a.m.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So we go from like 0.6%, which is like nothing, up to 5%. So ramp it up pretty nicely until 8 o'clock. Then staying there a little bit, going slightly down. What's the lowest then of that stuff? Like going down at noon, 3%. People
very
probably
interesting. We're not replying to messages at our lunch break. This was surprising to me. This surprised me.
And then it starts picking up again at 1 o'clock, and then culminating at 2.
Jeremy,
what's that?
I got it.
You do.
I figured it out.
All right.
Figured it out. This means we all check and respond the most after lunch.
Exactly. Right.
We come back from lunch.
Yeah.
What do we need to do? Let's check the inbox first. I think that's the plan.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And then a slight dip, but still very strong at 3 o'clock. What do we got at 3 o'clock?
Let's look here.
So
12%,
and then it goes back up to 4 p.m. Like 4 p.m. is like 15.65. That's the winner. And I think that kind of makes sense. It's like people just reply to all their emails before they go home. Like they want like an empty inbox, or at least having addressed it.
Let's clarify something. The stats mean, like if we're saying here that 4 o'clock has the highest percentage, these are the replies between 4 o'clock and 4:59, right?
Yep.
So that does give us a good reason why.
Yeah, 5 to 6 is only
5 to
8%,
6 is a lot,
right?
half of that. Exactly. Yeah. In fact, it's just about exactly half of the previous hour. So, and by here, the day is,
There's still some
steeply
people up to 8
declining.
o'clock. At 8 o'clock, we go down to 2%, so it's nothing, but
Mhm.
still have some people, replying on the evening. Look, like the 8 o'clock is much higher than the 6 a.m., for example, right? So people are slightly geared toward, evening.
Afternoon,
Yeah.
evening. Okay, so action items for us, Jeremy. Again, I know this doesn't tell us necessarily when we need to send, but it sure makes me feel like you better have your email delivered before lunch. I mean, that's my takeaway.
Yes, it sounds definitely like this. I think in a future cast, we'll be looking at the attribution date, which basically means like when we send, when do we have the most chances of getting replies? Because bear in mind that you may be sending at 12 thinking you're going to get the answer by 2, but it could be that actually they're just replying to most of the bulk message on the morning. And then by the time they come to your one that arrive at 12, like they're already out of the office or they don't care anymore. So I'm going to get back, to you with the actual attribution data, and we'll see if this is a different graph or not.
We would need the difference between the, how many hours pass between the send and the reply, right? That would tell us. Yeah,
absolutely.
Very interesting data to come. All right, cool, Jeremy. So did we cover the action items? I'm just worried that our listener, our viewer here is still scratching their head wondering what do they do with this very interesting graph of, when we're all replying to our emails here.
Well, one thing that I would definitely do is maybe write the email in the mindset of someone that reads on the afternoon or that needs to reply in the afternoon. Maybe the energy is low. That's probably why we say, simple CTA, like reply yes, I'll take care of everything, or like make their life easier. They want to go back home, or they're just like either swamped or they're just not as energy, focused in the morning, right? So a tripwire or like a simple ask or simple stuff actually does explain, better replies on the afternoon, I would say.
Yeah, that's interesting to write for the afternoon responder.
That's right.
For the afternoon response. For the post-lunch crowd.
Yes.
All right, Jeremy, this is good stuff. Should we switch it over to looked at LinkedIn?
Oh, yeah, I'm looking very much forward.
It's a different story.
Oh, is it?
It's such a different story.
Oh, right. Oh, it's probably 12 is actually peaking when people just, I finished my email. Let me check my, holy shit, I'm true. That's true. All right.
Well, no, it's not. It's not 12.
It's close to that, honestly.
We're morning LinkedIn people.
Holy shit, it starts at 4 a.m. It started at 4 a.m. this graph, not 8.
So 7 a.m. is one of the strongest response times. Okay.
Yeah.
And
just wake up from bed. I mean, my traffic commuting makes sense.
But just put it this way, 5 a.m. gets higher response than 4 p.m. I'll say that again. 5 a.m. more response than 4 p.m.
Crazy.
Meaning we wake up and check our LinkedIn.
That's right.
Let's break this down. So 5 a.m. we got 4.13%.
Oh, we moved from 4 p.m. 4 p.m. is pretty close. It's pretty a.m. Sorry, 4 a.m. 4 a.m. is actually like, it's still, 2%. So they haven't really woke up yet.
Yeah, and again, so like not many these, people... I feel like this is like our European campaigns, perhaps that skew. Yeah, I mean, frankly, like I don't but okay, so
not many people in a 4 a.m. club. That's it.
Not many people. That's true. Right. So, just for reference, 4 p.m. has a 3.83% reply rate. The rest of the day is lower than that. 5 a.m. is 4.13%. Upticks at 6 a.m. 5.55%, and then at 7 a.m. we're showing one of the few 7% figures. There's only 3 7% figures of the whole day. It's 7 a.m.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is that the dip then at 8 a.m. right correlates with the peak of emails. So they basically like put their phone down and they start replying their email, right? Look,
let's take.
This is what we got.
I love that. We need to overlay these. Because okay, so then back at 10, 9, we have another really strong hour, 7.33, our second best of the day. 10 a.m. Best
10 a.m.
time of
is the
day
best.
to get a LinkedIn response. And
It's the
then good luck
morning.
from there. Good luck from
Yes,
there. It
it's all down from
seriously
there.
drops. So post lunch, we have a little bit of an uptick at 6.09.
But realize
then-
how strong it is still at 12, right? Like we're not like drastically going down either, right? So people
Correct.
still kind of check their email. Like those are the people who are not very social, right? The people who eat on by themselves, you know, that type of thing.
That's right.
I don't know.
Okay. And so let's take us through the rest of the day. So 1 p.m. post lunch, we do get an uptick, and we're happy about that. Next, we're going to start to drop off 5% at 2, and then it just tails. Like, yes, we're still getting. What's
that dead cat bounce? You know, like we got that
right
big
here.
dip, and then we got like
8
7
PM.
and 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Right?
So evening is maybe a thing, but again, 5 a.m. is a little bit better than
crazy.
8 p.m. That's right. So this tells me,
again, single people, you know, at home, no family,
or just what do we do at the dinner table? I mean,
oh gosh,
that's my guess. Yeah, it's not great, but it's the reality. And bear in mind, these are stats just like yours, Jeremy. It's cold outreach. This is
yeah, that's
like
awesome.
SalesBread sent all of this, so I would probably add this is like true cold outreach, because pretty much goose egg, 0 of our campaigns were sent to like existing customers and just trying to engage or whatnot. This is just true blue, ice cold outreach. And so I recommend, I mean, look, send early. You want to get to the morning inbox for the LinkedIn platform. That's just plain as day to me, and quite shocking, actually. It feels like, here's my guess, Jeremy. We use LinkedIn to gear up for the day, and then
you follow up with
email to like finish the day.
Yeah, that looks like it.
And let's do like a little back and forth here. I mean, which is nice, because it's not like one channel owns the whole day. It doesn't.
Yeah.
We like them in different times. And that's what's really fun about this, Jeremy, what's really fun about this is LinkedIn.com could share like, oh, here's stats on our users, and here's stats on the time of day that we get the most posting. We don't really care about that. We just care about when are people replying, and this is it. This is it. So what do we say? We start our day with LinkedIn. We wind down our day with email. Send accordingly.
Well, what it means to me is that the world still works in 8 to 5 type of thing for, you know, professional emails, and it kind of bleeds a little bit, but it's still roughly the same story. It's still office workers. Basically, that's what we're seeing. When they're commuting, they're checking their emails. And
interesting. So basically, be aware that the times you're going to get the reply, it's that post-lunch hour or two. It's the commute to work. In email, it's the ride home. And so your message should be friendly towards that environment where you're either groggy because you're starting your day and you're just trying to hum along, make some quick decisions, like little movements, little conversation continues.
Means little attention, right? And people like, it's no wonder like long email usually doesn't perform that great, because it requires so much of our brain attention, and we don't have that when we're commuting and even like replying. How do I reply like on the go? I may say like, oh, looks like an interesting email, I'll reply to it later, and we know how it ends. It's like we don't reply to it later. So
and it makes me think this, and then we should wrap because this is a longer episode, but what call to action are you asking? And think about, if you receive that ask, what is it going to require you to do? So watch this. So, hey, does Thursday at 2 p.m. work for you? That's going to require that groggy morning person to open their calendar app, think about it, may not be the best way to start your conversations.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Jeremy, I love this cast. This was
Yeah, I
a
mean, we
super
forgot
fun
even
one.
to put the timer. I even forgot to put my lights on the back.
I'm glad you didn't.
Because I was
I'm
like
glad you
so
didn't.
interested. So good stuff. Thanks for proposing it. And
I love that. All right. And if you like this data episode, and more importantly, you do something with it, let us know. Reach out, podcast@quickmail.io.
I haven't changed the email yet.
That's okay. That's good. No, we want to hear from you. Send me a contact form on SalesBread if you're doing something with this data. We're excited for you to use it to your advantage. All right, Jeremy.
All right. Thanks, Jack. It was awesome.